the Karma Seal, do you think it could absorb shadow clones? That's the first
See, this is
question.
what's really weird because it should be able to do stuff like that. The problem, like the Rinnegan should have to do it too. It's just like, what does that look like? Does it just suck up the clone? Does he just stick your like? I guess you would have to like stick your hand on the clone. So this is why it's probably not practical. You'd probably have to like place your hand on the shadow clone, but then you could suck it up.
I mentioned this because I agree it should be able to, because it's a ninjutsu. It creates physical form out of chakra, but the physical form, it is a duplicate or replica of Naruto's body in the form of energy. So the shadow clones have bones, hearts, organs, skin, blood, everything that Naruto has. It has those things in physical form, but not in the form of matter, in the form of chakra energy that looks like the matter. Maybe you can argue creation of all things is a Shinjutsu. That'd be a retcon from how it's been explained to be a ninjutsu so far. It acts as a Shinjutsu, I'll give you that. But creation of all things, giving physical form to the chakra is the same thing as what Naruto does when he makes shadow clones.
So first, in terms of Shinjutsu, it is sort of a retcon, yes, but to be fair, the ninja wouldn't know. That's what it's called, for one thing. And second, the creation of all things is like the pinnacle of yin-yang release techniques. And if you read the Naruto data book entry on yin-yang release, it is worded and described basically 100% exactly how Shinjutsu is described in a lot of ways. So I do think yin-yang release techniques, or at least some of them at the bare minimum, just are Shinjutsu, if not all of them. This based off, and it's just kind of like a retcon of the name, basically. But that's one side. The second thing is with the creation of all things, well, yeah, it sounds like the same thing in that regard, but you can just argue the point is it actually creates matter. In the case of the creation of all things jutsu, it's not energy that looks like matter, it's energy that was actually converted into matter. Meaning, if Hakuramo does creation of all things to create a rock, it is a genuine rock now. The energy was truly turned into matter versus just looking like matter, kind of like a transformation jutsu, if that makes sense.
Okay. I will say, if that's true, then yes, but it is already, just based off that, already a stretch. It is a reach to go with that. I'm not going to say it's wrong.
We don't know, like,
I think it's probably less.
But then it's like, well, why would it be special though? Is the only thing.
There's more elements of this. First of all, you can seal the tailed beasts, and their physical form is converted back into that energy. So the physical form just vanishes in essence.
No, I don't think so. I think
because if there is no physical form, it is just the energy.
I think they're sealing the physical body too when they seal Bijou and Jinchuriki. The physical body goes in there too.
Think of the extraction of the tailed beast with the Ghetto Mazo. Think Gaara. The chakra leaks out of the body into the Ghetto Mazo. The physical body never manifests into reality.
So that's where it's weird in that case, but to be fair, the tailed beast bodies are just made of chakra at the same time. I think it's just an inconsistency because they start off by just saying like tailed beasts just are pure concentrations of chakra, but then it's described that they have physical bodies. Kurama is even saying he has flesh and bones and everything. So I think it is kind of just, it's been retconned inconsistently, but
this is the same thing, is that applies to shadow clones too. They're pure chakra, but they also have physical matter, because that physical matter is chakra. It's the same thing as any other ninjutsu, such as a fireball, fire style jutsu. I use this as my common example because it's such a basic and easy jutsu to understand. That's not real fire. That's why it can be absorbed by a karma seal. That's energy. It's heat that was transferred or molded chakra into that form.
Yeah.
But it's not fire, it's energy. So in the same way, Kurama is just energy. Kurama has physical form, but that physical form is chakra.
Yeah, exactly.
It's chakra molded into a physical form.
Yeah.
That removes any biological component in my eyes.
I would agree with that Because that is in truth, like that's how I think it probably would be. The problem though is they're inconsistent. So like, because first of all, with that logic in mind, unless you assume the reason for Kurama's return is the first option he gave, Himawari inherited a sliver of his chakra. If it's not that, then it doesn't make sense how Kurama, the pure energy, had all of his pure energy transformed into something else, a different type of energy that's just not Kurama or chakra at all, for that matter. There's no reason why a kernel would just appear. Like, Kurama doesn't exist anymore, essentially, based on how Baryon Mode's supposed to work.
Yes, but I think this works in my favor because, again, Kurama's physical body never died. Like, if a tail beast just dies out of nature, what happens to the corpse? Well, that corpse should just be chakra, so I think it would just, like, almost just, like, vanish into thin air is what it would look like as it dissipates off the body, as the chakra just goes to reincarnate, because you don't need that physical body, because it's gonna re-manifest somewhere else. So the physical body never, like, decays or anything.
That's in terms of regular death, no, not the way Kurama died.
But, like, even that, you see his physical body converted back into energy is what it looks like. He's literally rising with like steam.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, that's inside Naruto's mind.
Yeah, that's also true. But also the other thing is, I understand you can argue maybe it was a place on Earth. I think it's implied that that was one of Momoshiki's dimensions, somewhere not on Earth at the very least. So shouldn't Kurama's kernel appear like on Ishiki's dimension or the Momoshiki dimension, not on Earth? Unless it's the Himawari as a sliver of his chakra thing. I don't know why that. In terms of like, oh, can you absorb a shadow clone with karma? Well, Boruto specifically told Naruto not to make shadow clones against Momoshiki because he would absorb it, right? What I was gonna ask is, what does it look like, assuming Momoshiki does that? What does it look like when he releases it back on Naruto? Does he just have a Naruto shadow clone that's just loyal to Momoshiki now?
Well, this is funny because actually, no. I think what he would do is he would make it look like the same thing that happened during Baryon mode, to where that shadow clone, it doesn't just poof. I guess it would. It pops like a balloon in a way, but the smoke, the essence of it, would just funnel in to the karma seal, almost like what he did with the shadow possession. No, sorry, it just like slithers or like slinks into there, and then he can fire that energy back out. So, like, he would just fire the smoke, or he would just convert the smoke back into a raw energy to just have more chakra that he can turn into whatever else he wants.
Obviously can
he
do that.
Unmolds it.
I'm saying,
maybe.
Under the hypothetical, though, that he was going to release the jutsu amplified on Naruto, because when he absorbs, like, a fire style, like, the point is, he just absorbs the jutsu. So regardless if it absorbs as shadowy smoke, what the shadow clones are made of, or if it just straight up just absorbs the human body and just looks like the human body as he absorbs it. Based on how the jutsu works, he should be able to just release the jutsu he absorbed, because that's how his ability works.
If he's able to absorb it without it popping, because I think of it like a balloon still. If you can suck a balloon into a vent without the balloon popping, then you can spit that balloon back out without it popping. But if it pops at any point, it's just going to be popped. And then it's just going to be the smoke.
Like,
so hypothetically, he could
reconstitute back to the form it originally was. Like, if he absorbs a fire bird, the bird shape goes away as he's absorbing it. Like, it loses its form. Even if it has its nature still, it loses its form. But then he recreates the form when he spits it back out. So I think in the shadow clone
and I was going to say the same thing with
even if it loses
the shadow
the
possession,
form of the
because
body, it's still, he can just reconstitute it seemingly.
That works too. I like that. I was going to use the example of the shadow possession, to where he absorbs the shadow possession on him, like as the straight line version. But then when he does against the 5 Kage, it's like the full circle version that Shikadai used against Boruto. So he can reform it however he wants, seemingly.
Exactly. So as long as he has like the raw component, it gets stored wherever it gets stored in his body. But like the jutsu gets stored, but then he can manipulate. So my next question though is, okay, so assuming he spits out his own shadow clone, would it remain a Naruto shadow clone, or would it turn into a Momoshiki shadow clone?
I think it depends on whatever Momoshiki wants. There's no reason that he couldn't do either or. Well, do you think if he spits that Naruto shadow clone back out, because those shadow clones have consciousness, their own consciousness, separate from Naruto. Would it be on Momoshiki's side? Would it lose its consciousness, essentially just fall over
Be like a
like
robot, like an Edo Tensei
without a soul,
puppet.
basically? Yeah,
The
like
other thing
whose
is,
side would that Shadow Clone be on? That's interesting.
I was also thinking about the amplification. So say he eats some chakra pills first, he really amps up the Shadow Clone. Would it be bigger like an expansion jutsu, or would it just be stronger?
Stronger, because Naruto's clones don't get bigger, despite Naruto getting stronger. And regardless if Naruto makes one clone or splits it between 50 clones, the clones
Yeah,
are all the
there you go.
same as him.
Do
There's
you think this
less
clone will it maintain
chakra
KCM?
burst out.
If it's a KCM clone, he gets KCM. He's like amplified KCM six-path stage mode Naruto clone.
That's another thing. So that's more evidence actually that Kurama doesn't have a physical body, because whenever Naruto makes a shadow clone, there's another Kurama inside of him. We know
Do we
that
ever
not
see
only
that?
is it just like there in general.
Do we ever see that? The actual
Yeah,
Kurama?
not only like in the Warwick is that plenty of times, but when Naruto's training the Rasen Shuriken, one literally, or like the point was a couple of them literally lost control and the
Well,
Nine Tails started leaking out.
yeah, but they have the chakra envelops them. But the point is like the Kurama mind in all of those clones, or is he in the main
Yes.
body just having his chakra affect the clones?
No, it has to be on the one per clone, because for example, like in the Warwick, when Madara tried to summon the Nine Tails, that Naruto was a clone. So that was a clone Kurama talking to clone Naruto
Oh,
on
yeah,
that battlefield.
you're right. Yeah, so okay, yeah. So I guess Naruto just
Fair enough.
also shadow clones Kurama in a way when he does the shadow clone jutsu.
But I think that's more evidence that Kurama isn't a physical body. The fact that that MG can be dispersed in that
do you
same
think
way.
do you think Naruto
Another piece of evidence.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Side question. Do you think Naruto can make a shadow clone that doesn't include Kurama? Do you think he could possibly do it?
It depends. Kurama's even more difficult. So the first question would be, can Naruto make a shadow clone that doesn't look like him? Not the transformation jutsu, but like a
Yeah.
Naruto clone that just like has
Wearing a different
no
outfit.
hair.
Yeah. Or something like that.
I was thinking like on his physical body rather than his clothes, but
Mhm.
yeah. Like, could he make a Naruto clone without fingernails, for instance? I don't know. There'd be no point to, because transformation jutsu exists if you need to do something like that anyways, or just make
I
the clone
think
weaker, I would
not,
imagine.
because
I don't think so either.
Naruto will use the transformation jutsu on shadow clones, like in character he's done that exact thing, and instead of just poofing them that way. And two, I think the point is you are replicating your current self, so I
Yeah.
think like it has to copy what you currently are.
Hence why when he's in the Kurama Rage form, whenever he makes shadow clones, those shadow clones are also in the Kurama Rage form.
Mm-hmm.
Like against Sasuke.
The only
or
potential
beginning of
counter to this would be if Naruto in Sage Mode makes base non-Sage Mode clones when he does the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Because if that's the case, well, they should have Sage Mode too.
That's a little bit different because Sage Mode's almost like an outside force.
But
I don't know.
it's currently
a little bit
in him, though.
weird.
That's the thing. Like it's his current state.
Well, maybe it's his current state, but would you consider his current condition? Like, I feel like there's some separation there. I don't know what the word would be, but it's like not sealed within him, for example.
If Naruto's a cut on his face and he makes a Shadow Clone, all the Shadow Clones should still have that cut on his face.
Which is interesting because if it's like a balloon, that cut should make the shadow clone automatically poof, unless it's not an actual cut, but like a sealed cut that looks like a cut.
The shadow clones are just inconsistently durable. Sometimes they can tank a lot, sometimes one little flick and they're gone. Like,
to be fair, I think to a degree it is consistent. We just don't realize it because they never really say it. I think Naruto can choose how much chakra he puts into a clone, and based on that amount of chakra, it makes it more durable. Also based on the amount of strength Naruto has in general. Like a KCM 1 clone would do a lot better than like a Kid Naruto clone in general. Could be wrong, but that's my headcanon, I guess.
For example, Naruto's training for the summoning jutsu, and he has a million clones just punching each other like crazy, and they stick around for quite a while before they finally
Yeah.
get pooped. Other times, just like one little punch or kick from Neji or Sasuke, all the clones are just poofing like crazy. Right? I mean, how much harder was
Yeah.
Neji or Sasuke hitting? I'm like, Naruto's the one with the strong left hook, right?
Exactly. But then again, you have Boruto, to where Boruto just like punches Naruto in the gut to see if it's a shadow clone, and that would have worked. Maybe you can argue Boruto inherited the strong left hook, or maybe you could argue that Naruto was tired, since like the normal clone poofed away without even being hurt in the first place anyways. But I don't know. It was
Yeah.
also a gag moment regardless, so I don't think you can use that for scaling. This wouldn't be a problem either way, but just I personally think that Ginkaku and Kinkaku didn't inherit Kurama's chakra because they ate Kurama's flesh. I think they inherited Kurama's chakra because they were swallowed by Kurama and stayed in there for so long that they were surrounded by it that it sort of just
Yeah.
like seeped into their body.
Well,
I think
that can
what
apply
they
to
ate was just
Himawari thing that we've talked about before. Same with Naruto and Kushina's belly. Like, a similar thing can apply to them. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, they explain it as because they fed on his flesh, but let's see what the data book says out of curiosity.
even if it is because they ate his flesh, I think that leans more credence towards Kurama being energy more so than like physical matter, because they inherited that power.
Yeah.
Like if it was just like a cow, if you eat a cow meat, you don't inherit that cow's power, just the energy or whatever.
Exactly. But it's a little bit different in this case because they inherited like the genuine cow energy versus like a transformed cow energy. But
This gets into complete speculation, but do you think the tailed beasts need to eat, drink, sleep, or use the bathroom? In essence,
I
is
don't.
it at least
Well, no, because actually
any of
no.
them?
Because definitely to the bathroom one, because Shukaku literally does that as a troll trick, and then it's revealed that no, tailbeasts don't have to use the bathroom. He was just tricking them.
When we see Ginkaku and Kinkaku inside Kurama's stomach, is there anything else in there? Is there even a digestive tract in the first place?
I think so.
Is
I
it-
think we see like
What's
this
in there? Is it
inside of this-
stomach acid?
Yeah, I think we saw the internal lining of their stomach. Now I don't know exactly when they showed it. It might also be anime only,
No
but
idea.
yeah, in the manga, we just see Kurama bite them, and then they're just inside.
Yeah.
And we don't see like the actual way it looks.
Yeah, it's the same in the anime, unless this YouTube video just cut it out. It just like pans into Kurama's pitch black mouth and then just cuts to the next scene.
I thought they showed like in the anime. I feel like they did.
But anyway, so for the Ninetales thing, if they had physical bodies, they would need to do like all of these different things: eat, sleep, bathroom.
Well, no, because
Drink.
Mitsuki doesn't have to, and he definitely has a physical, real body. Same with the Zetsu.
Okay, do you think Hagoromo made them like that?
It's possible.
Because Kurama's not a clone. Kurama's made
Okay.
from imagination. Imagination turned to reality.
Yeah, I mean, but like the Zetsu aren't clones either.
Zetsu are way different. They're literally like Otsutsuki nonsense that we don't even understand.
Well, so Hagoromo's an Atsuki with that ability nonsense that we don't understand.
No, I knew you were going to say that same thing. I wouldn't even consider Hagoromo Otsutsuki other than in name. It's the same with Toneri. He's not pure Otsutsuki.
Yeah,
He
but
doesn't have Otsutsuki knowledge.
Hagoromo's actually like strong.
And it's an ability that we have at least an explanation for. So, I don't know. It seems conceptually the same as the Shadow Clones in this regard. Because they don't have a physical body, they don't need to do any of those things, and that's the reason why. And so, with Hagoromo specifically, again, it's turning imagination into reality. And so, the base default standard assumption is that Hagoromo just made them the way they are. And if you're adding on extra things, such as genes, that's making an assumption at that point. Creation of all things doesn't abide by the laws of reality. It abides by the limits of one's own imagination.
Yeah.
And so Hagoromo imagining the fox, the default assumption would be it's the fox in general. If he thinks fox with genetics, then yeah, Kurama would have genetics. But did Hagoromo think that far ahead to include that? And then does Hagoromo even know genetics exists in the first
Probably.
place?
Yeah, the question is, did he think to make him that way? We don't know. But, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think Kurama needs genetics for Himawari to inherit any of his chakra anyway. I think just Himawari being surrounded by the chakra in a one way or another works fine. But, yeah.
That's fine. I'm just pushing my agenda to erase the G word.
Yeah, you just hate genes, bro.
The creation of all things, the way I see it is you can compare it to like a child's imagination. So think of like Himawari drawing a picture of like Naruto. When drawing, Himawari would have to think this is Naruto with genetics. Otherwise, that picture of Naruto doesn't contain genetics because it's such a basic, raw, simple shape. Like, I'm using Himawari because it's from that art episode. Like, she's not thinking to include it. She's just drawing the basic outline of what Naruto looks like in general. She's not thinking about stuff like that. Like that Naruto, if that Naruto was put into reality and then you cut it with creation of all things, that Naruto's not bleeding. So it doesn't have blood.
Yeah, because you didn't make it that way.